Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the Baker Act and the power of attorney / healthcare proxy. So let me explain to you what healthcare proxies and powers of attorney are. So typically a healthcare proxy is where I give somebody else the authority to make medical decisions for me when I'm not able to do so. Maybe I was in a serious car accident and I was rendered unconscious, or some type of medical condition which rendered me unconscious or not able to actually communicate. And so the person who is, the recipient, the beneficiary of the healthcare proxy now can step into my shoes and they can start to make decisions about my medical care, things of that nature, right? The power of attorney typically has to do with financial things. So again, I'm in a car accident, I'm unconscious, and I've given the authority for somebody to start making decisions about my finances, how to pay my car, or giving them the authority to pay my car, go into my bank account and make the car payment or the mortgage payment or the lease payment, whatever it happens to be, but you get the idea, right? Healthcare, finances. Now, the Baker Act. The Baker Act is a statute that authorizes the state of Florida to take temporary custody of somebody, at least initially, temporary custody, when there's an allegation that because of some type of mental illness, some type of mental health issue, they're suicidal, something like that, or they've taken too many pills and tried to self-harm. When there's an allegation that there's mental illness and that you need immediate services. I'll give you an example. We had a family who came home, found a loved one hanging from the ceiling. Thank goodness they got him down. And then they took them to they were able to get, emergency medical services to come over and take them to the hospital. That type of thing. That's the kind of thing that the Baker Act has. Now, sometimes what will happen is somebody will get Baker Acted, and the person who has been given this healthcare proxy calls us and says, well, I have a healthcare proxy and and I want to enforce my rights. Okay, well, guess what? Your rights have been terminated. What do you mean? My loved one gave me this right, and I'm telling you that the state of Florida has just terminated them. Well, there's no court order. You're right. There's no court order in place. They don't need one. So, first of all, I am not a fan of healthcare proxies when it comes to behavioral health issues. I'm just not. I just think honestly, I think they're not worth the paper they're written on. And there's going to be some lawyers out there who disagree with me. But I personally think that when it comes to issues of drug use and mental illness, I think they're worthless. I really do. But I'm just one man sitting in an office. But that's my experience. But the state's right to detain somebody either through the criminal system or through the mental health system trumps any rights that you think that you have, either with a healthcare proxy or a power of attorney. Well, if you have a healthcare proxy and you want to start making decisions, about your loved one's health care, their mental health care that you believe you've been given, what are you supposed to do then? Do I just throw it in the garbage? And the answer is no. What you need to do is you need to enforce the rights that you believe that you were given and say to a judge, I don't think the state should be making decisions for my loved one because they gave me the authority to make decisions for them when as a result of some alleged incapacity that they're not able to make them. Right now, they're locked up in a facility, and they can't make decisions for themselves. In fact, the facility has told them they need to take medications. I'm worried they might be forcibly medicated. I'm worried the state's going to go to court and get an order sending them to the state hospital. All this crazy kind of stuff. So if you've been given a healthcare proxy, what you need to do is you need to enforce your rights, which means we need to go to court. And if you're not willing to go to court to enforce what rights you believe you have, what rights, frankly, even without the healthcare proxy, that you believe your loved one has, if you're not willing to go to court, then you are at the mercy of the state of Florida. And because nobody actually knows that your loved one is there, that's right, the facility doesn't report to anybody, there's no oversight, they can do whatever they want. And here's the icing on the cake. Absent your loved one getting physically damaged, because they have a duty to keep them safe, you can't sue them for this. Because even though this facility that has locked your loved one up, that apparently is abusing them and mistreating them, even though they may be a private for-profit entity, guess what? They are a licensed agent of the state's mental health system, and they don't care about your healthcare proxy. They simply don't care, and they are free to ignore it. And so the way to overcome that is to go to court and seek enforcement. But if you're not wanting to seek enforcement, if you're just going to say, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens, which, look, that's your right. This is a no judgment zone. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you options. My team's going to give you options. But if you decide ultimately not to do anything, fine. Then you leave yourself and your loved one at the mercy of the state of Florida. Having had a family member Baker Acted and been there when it all went down, I'm not leaving anything to the state of Florida. I just simply know that they do a crappy job taking care of people. Just one man's opinion. Anyway, so I hope that clarifies that. I always appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate the comments. I would love a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to the channel, I'd be even more grateful. So with that said, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.